I'm kind of with you with a lot of stuff, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not fully on board with flat Earth yet.
That's a hard one.
It is a hard one.
I was violently opposed to it. I was mad at people that would bring it up.
Right.
And that's normal. Everybody that's into flat Earth, it was very hard for them to get into it and admit it. It took like a year and a half for them to admit it.
Well, first it was just black dudes, basically. I feel like they were into it at first.
Yeah, I wasn't
like
into.
that.
I was violently opposed to it. But the one thing about flat Earth, you punch in flat Earth on YouTube, you're gonna get all the debunkers. And like, why is there so many people working against it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
They're doing the exact same thing to flat Earth that they do to 9/11, JFK, Iran Contra. They got people producing debunking videos.
Yeah.
Like, why are you doing that if it's so stupid?
It's so
Why?
stupid.
And you should ask yourself, why is there a debate about it? How is there a debate still in this time with the internet? Why are people, there's so many people that are afraid to admit that they're looking into flat Earth because of the amount of ridicule you get. You know what I mean?
Right.
I was quiet about it, but I was against it. I was trying to, people kept coming up to me, have you looked into flat Earth? I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you're
about
crazy.
This is like a couple years ago. I'm like, shut the fuck. Joe, I was on Joe's podcast and he would bring it up because dude, people are so dumb. There's some people out there still believe the Earth is flat. And I'm like, what the fuck are they? Really? There's people like that? And this was just a few years ago. I'm in my 40s.
Now you're
Then
thinking about
I
it.
kept trying to debunk it. Like I would get in arguments with people, and that's the typical story. Everyone's trying to debunk it. And then the one thing that made me realize something was wrong is I always believed that the moon landings were faked, and that's what I thought NASA was. I thought NASA was in charge of the moon missions. I didn't think they were in charge of all space information. I thought there was all these scientists everywhere, and they're figuring out shit about the universe. And once I was looking into it, and I realized, oh shit, all these pictures of Earth from space, they're all CGI composites. And NASA admits it. They go, oh, you know what? We take the images and we take this information strips and then we get an artist to put together. I'm like, wait a minute. You guys aren't even getting real pictures of the fucking Earth from space? I go, I had the picture of Earth
where's
from
the
space.
bootlegs?
Yeah.
Where's them fucking space bootlegs?
And you get the Earth on your iPhone. That's the default. The default picture. I go, I had looked at Earth every day on my iPhone. I see that. I go, how are you going to tell me the Earth's flat? I see it. So the guy said, go. He goes, I got a master's in engineering. Look into it. And so I did, and I realized, damn. Then I started tracing these pictures back to NASA. Then I realized, wait a minute, NASA is controlling all our space information. I go, NASA does that? I thought they just did the moon and the space shuttle.
Yeah. And NASA's gutter, dude. They've been around for 60 years. They've been to the moon allegedly 4 times.
No, 6 times.
6 times.
Yeah, 6 times.
And then they destroyed all the technology?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Dude, that's
Come
the
on,
worst.
man.
If that
Come
was
on,
a
man.
business, you'd be like, this
Come on,
is
man. You
yeah.
guys you know what? They had to say they destroyed it. What are they going to say?
Yeah, what else are they gonna
What are
say?
they going to let people? They destroyed all the video, the raw video footage, the raw audio footage, all the telemetry data, which tracked where they were in space. All that's gone.
Because there's no way that they could even leave that for us to really look at.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing is to think and try and be brave in your thoughts because, I grew up, with, a lot of Christian influence around me and stuff. And at first it was scary for me to start thinking about other things because I didn't want to, because it was just in my makeup that made me feel like, oh, it was a little bit wrong. Yeah. But now, man, I love to think about it. If I'm not thinking about it, then I'm just wasting a lot of my time here. I'm just going to accept everything for like complete face value without questioning. It just seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, people are all on board with putting up memes that say question authority. People are all. No one's like saying no, don't question authority. Nobody says that. Nobody would ever say don't question authority.
Well, some people are. I mean, I go back to the middle monkeys, man. Like, I believe that we're closely related to animals, that we have a lot of the same stuff. But I've never been to the zoo and been like, fuck, I miss the old neighborhood. Like, I don't have any feeling like that in my body, Like, if I see the monkeys at the zoo, I'm not like, oh, that's the old gang. Yeah. No, I don't feel any fucking connection to them.
When you break down, like, evolution and Darwin and Isaac Newton and they're all Freemason Jesuits, man. Yeah. All the major astronomers, Jesuit. It's all part of the plan. They control. Like, the Vatican has the most powerful telescope. And you know what its name is? Lucifer.
Jesus.
The Vatican's...
That's a dark art.
Yeah.
Their telescope
I had no
is,
idea.
is named Lucifer.
It's almost like they're fucking with us.
They are, man. How are you gonna call Lucifer, man? I thought Lucifer was Satan. I thought you guys hated that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
what the fuck's going on over? You call it Lucifer, and then we don't see anything that they're seeing.
Yeah.
How come you don't show us what you're looking at?
Yeah, a couple Vatican
How
shots.
come you don't show us? And
We're them Vatican JPEGs.
I'll never forget me and Joe when we were fucking balls deep into space and shit back like in 2001. We're watching a documentary on the VLT telescope, and that stands for Very Large Telescope. VLT. It was a documentary about it, like in 2001, and they were building it somewhere in South America where it's 360 days, it's clear, the atmosphere. It's the perfect place for a gigantic. The most powerful telescope ever, and the documentary was about building it. It wasn't done yet, and it was 3 giant mirrors that were gonna be linked together through software, through computer software. And they said by 2005, they're going to be able to take shots of the moon, like right on the ground. Like we're going to be able to see
and nothing.
Yeah.
And where is it now?
Since 2005, and it's 2018. There's no shot. Where's the shot
There's
of the
nothing.
goddamn?
Especially if it's
the
clear.
flag on the moon. Let's see the flag.
Yeah.
Let's see that. They're not showing shit on the moon. They ain't showing nothing about.
Well, they
the moon.
also said too. This is something that I heard that whenever they took off, that the shuttle knocked the flag down, and that's why you can't see it. That's why.
Oh, really?
What a great excuse, though.
didn't know.
Yeah, that's
Jesus Christ.
you can go look that up.
Look at the moon. Look at the moon. Like the conspiracy theory is that the moon is its own luminary. It's not a ball of sand. It's actually it's like a
light.
like a nighttime sun. It's a light. And the craziest thing about the moon, and before I got into flat Earth, I could never wrap my brain around how if the moon is orbiting around us and it's a ball. Why do we always see the exact same side? And they say it's a synchronous orbit. He goes, it's like holding hands with someone and spinning. Right. But still, even if it's a synchronous orbit, after a while, it would move a little bit. Eventually, we would see the fucking back of it, but we never see the back. Year after year, decade after decade, millennia after millennia, it's the same side of the moon. It's the same face. It doesn't even move like
a little
bit.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah, I mean, listen. I mean, even just some of the stuff. It's like, first of all, Pluto. That's what they taught me about a ton growing up, and then suddenly, 15 years ago, oh, Pluto doesn't exist. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Pluto wasn't fucking real. What the fuck?
They're saying there's a bunch of Plutos, so they can't count Pluto as a planet.
Yeah, they can't find him.
They'd have to count. It's crazy.
And then
man.
the speed thing. It's like, oh, we're spinning at this, and we're going this. The numbers almost sound like something a kid would say.
Yeah. Something my little brother.
The people,
60 million, 700 jillion, 37, 77.
How about the International Space Station supposedly is going 17,000 miles an hour around 17. I go, how you guys are supposed to, you guys dock on that motherfucker 4 times a year? You guys send a cargo ship with scientists, international scientists that you're gonna 4 times a year. You're docking on something that's going 17,000 miles an hour. Yet there's no footage of it. There's no footage, and the one thing that will prove that the Earth is round. The one thing, it's really easy. People say, man, you need to start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, what is it? What is the proof?
It's really easy. People always come up with this crazy shit. Like, start a GoFundMe, go to the edge, raise this money, go to the edge, fly, get on a rocket, fly it, see it for yourself. You wouldn't even believe it if you saw it for yourself. Okay. You don't have to spend, all you have to spend is $17.99, $17, go to Best Buy. Buy a fucking GoPro camera, put it on one of those goddamn scientists that go 4 times a year. Put it on one of those scientists. I want an uncut video of them going into the rocket, even if it takes 17 hours, I'll watch the whole thing. Taking off, uncut, docking onto the International Space Station, getting off, and then looking back at Earth. If you could do that in one shot, I will shut the fuck up.
Okay,
One
so
shot.
This actually brings
Go to
to the
Best
edge.
Buy.
To the edge with Eddie. Go to Best Buy. $17.99.
Easy. We don't need a GoFundMe. Shut the fuck up with that.
All right, so this actually brings up to what I wanted to ask you, and what's preventing me from going all on board with flat Earth is that when you go on YouTube, there's a lot of people with too much time and money on their hands, and they're buying weather balloons, attaching GoPro cameras to it, or just any cameras, and launching it up into space. And if you watch that footage,
I watch it. Yeah.
Okay.
There's no curvature.
Well, no, but because some of them don't go high enough.
This is what I know exactly what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Most GoPro cameras have fisheye lens.
Yeah, the fisheye lens.
Yeah.
All right.
So you could tell that really quick. So a
Right,
lot of
right,
people go, look, I could see the curvature. Goes, dude, that is obviously
No.
fisheye
yeah,
lens.
yeah.
So the ones that go up without the fisheye lens, they go up. There have been balloons, a bunch of them go up. You can watch it on YouTube. The ones that don't have fisheye lens, they go up 110,000 feet, 110,000 feet, 121,000 feet. They go up there and there's zero curve. And it was brought to Neil deGrasse Tyson's attention. They asked him this. He says this on video too. They said, Neil, because Neil is one of their puppets. He's the one.
I don't trust him, man. He's a patsy.
Exactly. Totally.
He's a fucking
He's
patsy,
part of the
dude.
club. They go, we need a scientist who's a good talker and he's funny and charismatic. He's an actor. That guy's an actor. He's like Bill Nye the Science Guy. Those are actors.
Yeah.
They're trying to push the science agenda. But anyways, so when they asked Neil deGrasse Tyson, they go, how come with these amateur balloons we're not seeing any curvature at 121,000 feet? And Neil deGrasse Tyson said, that's not high enough. You need to go way higher. Of
course.
The Earth is so big. That's what he said. But then they got all these people saying, dude, look out, get on a plane and look out a window. You could see the curve. Go, dude, that's 35,000 feet. And if Neil deGrasse Tyson is saying at 121,000 feet, you're still not high enough. And that's the max for these balloons. They can't get any higher.
Yeah.
If he's saying you need to go higher to see the curve, then how the fuck are people saying they see it at 35,000 miles on a plane? It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense.
That does not make any sense. If anybody can explain that, Neil deGrasse Tyson, your own boy said that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. Even like a patsy, you create one, they're going to mess up every now and then. They're not going to get it all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not going to always say the right thing.
And Joe Rogan, me and him were having our flat Earth discussion and battles and debates, and I say, you know what, we can handle this. Let's just handle this once and for all. Why don't we get Eric Dubay? He's the best flat earther out there. There's a lot of shills out there.
Yeah, I heard you talking about him on InfoWars.
Eric Dubay versus Neil deGrasse Tyson on JRE.
Oh, what
that
happened
would
to that?
destroy the
100%.
internet. That would destroy the internet.
Right.
And Joe was all for it. Joe said, we could fucking make that happen.
Yeah.
And he contacts Neil deGrasse Tyson and goes, dude, I contacted Neil. We're going to do it. I contact Eric Dubay. I go, it's fucking happening. And right when Joe Rogan even put it on his schedule, he said, like for February, he's talked about it on his podcast.
That's it.
He's talked about it on his podcast.
And that's it.
And then right when it was announced, Eric Dubay's YouTube channel gets deleted. It gets deleted. Isn't that crazy? But he still wants to do it. So now Eric
the progress on that?
Dubay, if you go to his YouTube channel, he's made a video going, Joe, when's this going to happen? Look, you put it on your schedule. You talked about it on your podcast. When's it going to happen?
time.
Joe wants to make it happen. The problem is Neil deGrasse Tyson. He don't want none of Eric Dubay.
He doesn't.
No. He there's no way he's going to debate.
Yeah.
Yeah, how's that time to ask for it?
Just that little explanation of
Right?
how we should see
He doesn't want to answer that.
every 6 months there should be a different set of stars, completely different. But they can't answer that one. Just
it's true. Look, it's time for people to think. That's my biggest thing, man.
Yeah, people think we're shooting through the universe at 1,000,000 miles an hour,
And spinning in a circle. And gravitating around something.
And the whole thing without gravity, that heliocentric model, that mainstream model falls apart. Gravity is what holds everything together. Now think about this. If people ask, they say, well, children will ask this, well, if the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, why aren't the oceans being flinged off? And the answer is gravity is holding the
Gravity's
ocean.
that wild taffy.
Yeah, gravity is holding oceans to it, right?
Yeah.
Gravity's holding skyscrapers. Otherwise, skyscrapers would fling off. Oceans would fling off, right? If this force is so strong, it's so strong that it's holding oceans to it, how come it doesn't fuck with a helium balloon? Is a helium balloon, is that anti-gravity?
Yeah.
No, what it is the conspiracy theory with gravity is that, and I didn't make this up, gravity has never been proven. It's never been measured. Isaac Newton came up with it, and it doesn't hold water, literally. If the reason why a helium balloon rises and doesn't get stuck to the ground is because helium is less dense than the air around
So you
it.
think it's just our weight? It's not gravity.
Density and buoyancy. Think about it. You throw a rock into the ocean, it sinks to the ground. You throw a tennis ball into the ocean, it just floats. Because the air inside that tennis ball is less dense than the water. Anything that's less dense goes up. Anything that's more dense than the medium that holds it sinks.
So it's a density holding
It's
us
a
down.
density thing. How come think about this.
But what creates density? The force on it, right? The gravity.
What was the question?
Like what creates like density? Like what makes one thing dense and one thing?
Well, what I'm saying is, I'm no scientist. I
Right.
don't know, but I'm just as a
Right,
as
you're just
a common
thinking.
man.
Yeah.
I'm thinking why you would think like a 250-pound man. Say Ray Lewis is.
Yeah, football
Would
player.
it be easier for him to hold a baby stuck to the ground or another 250-pound man?
A
What would
baby.
be? Yes, that's common sense, right?
Yeah.
He's got all this force against a baby. Gravity has the force to hold oceans stuck to it, yet it can't hold a butterfly stuck to it. The butterfly, we should be stuck to the fucking ground like some kind of magnet, but yet we're not. But oceans are being held, and if gravity is holding oceans to it, then gravity must be fighting the inertia of that 1,000 mile an hour spin.
Right.
So there's a battle between the inertia flinging the water off and the gravity holding it together.
You would think sometimes the water would zip off.
Where or a little
Maybe a splash would hit
Where
you.
is there evidence of this battle between the inertia and the gravity? There is no battle. It should be like the ocean should be like leaning to one side kind of all the time, kind of
It's too
doing
simple.
something. Yeah. And water, you can't find if we were truly a ball with a circumference of 25,000 miles an hour or 25,000 miles, sorry.
You got to lead us though, man.
Yeah, but if it's true, then the ball should bend at 6,000 feet per every 100 miles. So we should be able to measure the curve of oceans. Every 100 miles, there should be 6,000 feet of curvature. Yet you could go on YouTube and hear there's a video on a U.S. Navy quartermaster. He's a quartermaster. He works on like fucking battleships, and he says you can go on YouTube, just YouTube U.S. Naval quartermaster, and he explains. He goes, "There's no way there could be 6,000 feet of curvature at 100 miles." Because they're targeting and imaging ships at 100 miles. It would be impossible if there was a 6,000 feet curve.
Right.
There'd be no way they could target
Shoot it.
There should be 6,000 feet of curvature at 100 miles. So
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, and then
if the world is a ball with a circumference of 25,000 miles, then every 100 miles there should be 6,000 feet of dip.
And we don't
there
see
isn't. And also when you're on a plane, you should be every 5 minutes. You should be dipping the nose,
To stay within it.
Otherwise, you just go right into space.
Yeah.
But they never dip their nose. They're just hovering over a plane.
Yeah.
They're just keeping. There's so many.
It's the dark arts,
goes
man.
on forever.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, there's websites out there that, like, have you heard of the Flat Earth Society? The Flat Earth Society is where, like, Obama is directing everybody. He brings it up because this is not a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. So he's sending everybody to the Flat Earth Society, which is a bunk website.
Yeah.
Nobody that's a true flat earther has gone through. They bypass the Flat Earth Society because
Right.
if you're
'Cause it's a
first,
trap.
exactly. If your first introduction to flat Earth, like you're curious, like everyone keeps talking about the flat Earth, and then you hear about Flat Earth Society because they pump that up. They want to send you there. You go and you punch in Flat Earth on Google. If you punch in Flat Earth on Google right now, the first thing's going to come up is the Flat Earth Wikipedia, which is all controlled and it looks ridiculous. And then the Flat Earth Society is right there. It's going to direct Flat Earth Society on the first page all over the place. So if you go to Flat Earth Society first, you're never going to believe in
fucked.
flat. Yeah, because
right.
they're going
and
to
that's
say
where they want to send you first.
And so to
you
turn
got to
you
still
away.
think for yourself. You cannot take
You gotta-
exactly
you know,
what
if you're
is said
curious-
out there.
if
You got to
you're-
be wild.
If you're curious about flat Earth, there's a lot of people out there that there's a lot of great information. The YouTube channel Beyond the Imaginary Curve, great shit. Eric Dubé's YouTube channel, great shit.
We'll put
are
some of
the
those
first-
links in.
Yeah, the great shit.
We want to get a question or two real quick, Eddie, about
Okay.
some of our listeners. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the information.
I appreciate you having an open mind, man.
Yeah,
it's
well,
refreshing.
good afternoon and other times. Thanks for watching that video you just saw. I mean, it was okay. But the next video you could watch could be way better. What if you watch a video right now that changes your life? Well, you could watch this one, or watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Watch this one. Ah!